Now currently I really like this unit, but initially I did not think that was going to be the case. The probe itself comes in a handy little wood case that has a AAA battery in the back, and this actually charges the probe when it's not in use. It clips in and out pretty easily, and it's pretty pleasing. Also has magnets on the back, so you can stick it on the side of your pellet grill when you're using it, or it can go onto the fridge when not in use. The battery life of the probe is not of any concern to me at this point in time. I've done brisket on here for up to 14 hours and have had no issues with the battery. Now initially when you're going to get this probe, you're going to have to set it up with an app on your phone. That'll run you through some tutorials, which are mandatory that you have to watch. I'm not sure why they did that, but they're all of, I don't know, 20 seconds a piece for a total of a minute that you got to spend going through mandatory tutorials before you can actually use this thing for the first time. Now to connect to the probe, I just followed the instructions and I had no issues at all connecting the probe to my phone. To use this probe, all you gotta do is take the pointy thing, whatever the actual probe off of the base, and you'll have to make sure that you insert it into the meat at least past the little line. And I guess this is to protect the two different probes that are on this thing. There's one that actually will monitor your ambient temperature inside the barbecue, which has a higher temperature limit. And then there's one for actually monitoring the meat or whatever you're cooking. After you've got the probe inserted into your meat, all you do with the app is just select your type of meat or the cut of meat that you're cooking. It'll even show you the optimal place to insert the probe. Stick the probe into essentially the thickest part of the meat, and you're ready to go. Now initially when I got this thing, the first 2 times I was cooking with it, I had some serious connectivity issues. I mean, this thing had to be really close to the barbecue, even 8 feet away, and I was losing connectivity. Now I don't know what I've changed other than maybe where I placed the base. I placed the base a little bit farther on the outside of the barbecue, not quite so close. So maybe that had something to do with it, but I found at this point in time I can be in the basement in my house and I can monitor my cooking temperature. They say the range is about 165 feet. I'd say realistically expect to do about half that. And in the basement, the odd time I get a connectivity issue, but for this cook, it was pretty good. It only lost connectivity once or twice for maybe 5 seconds, but I mean, who cares? It's still keeping track of the cook. It doesn't lose anything as far as the cook is going, and you still get the information that you need. Initially, I was thinking that was going to be strictly a 6 feet barbecue limit, and that kind of sucks, leaving your phone next to the barbecue when you got other things going on, especially when you got a long cook. I'm very happy to see that that is no longer the case, and the range is actually working out very well for me. Now, shortly after you got your cook started and the probe senses the ambient temperature inside the barbecue, and it also has the temperature of the meat, it's going to come up with an estimated cook time. Now the first time I did beef brisket on here, it took, or the cook time, I think it said 3.5–4 hours. It was nowhere close. That brisket ended up taking up about 13–14 hours. The rest of the meats I've done, the cook times have been very close, and I have also noticed that the second time I did brisket, I don't know if it adjusts how it figures out those estimate times, but the second time has been way closer. This one here, I think it says something around 13 hours for the estimated cook time. That's not too far off. It's getting a heck of a lot closer than what it was. It didn't quite take that long. The total cook time for this brisket was just over 12 hours. So maybe it's the sum of all averages kind of thing. It could also be affected, or the cook time could be affected, because I'm kind of changing methods as well, and I did have a flame out initially while I was waiting for one variety of pellets to run out and swap over the competition blend. I also did change and wrap the brisket about halfway through and sauce it, so that could throw these estimates off too. So much better the second time. Not the greatest for brisket yet, but it could be because of how I'm cooking the brisket. If you do want to see the recipe to this brisket, or how I do pellet grill beef brisket, I'll leave a link at the end of the video on the side card here. Now once your cook is finished, you're going to take it off, and if the cook needs any kind of a rest time just to let the juices stay in the meat before you cut it up and let the juices all bleed out, it will tell you a rest time. I rest my meat a little bit longer, some of it, than what it says here, but it's really nice that the app actually tells you what the rest time is as well. So you just unwrap your meat or just put it on the counter, put it wherever you're going to put it, and once the internal temperature reaches whatever preset value it is for the rest time, I don't know, it'll tell you that your rest is complete and to enjoy your cook. Cleanup is a snap. There's not much to this thing. You can take an abrasive pad as shown in their little informative video, and you just got to make sure that the back end of this probe and actually all of the probe is clean, because it uses those two contacts to charge this probe back up for the next use. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this thing now that the range issue is sorted out, or whatever the problem was with the range. I'm actually quite enjoying it. It's very nice to be able to hit exact target temperatures when you're doing a cook, and this thing does that reliably. So that's really nice. It also guides you through step by step the entire, however you're going to cook it, however you're going to barbecue your meat. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do each step of the way to make sure that you have the best cooked possible meat. I've done this with actually any meat that I've used this probe on so far. It has turned out it's exactly what I'm looking for. Whatever the preset is that I pick, it turns out exactly to that. So that part is really good. Before this, I was just always cooking to feel, so upgrading to using a thermometer, I'm really liking it. Not having to open and close the lid, even better. Lets that smoke flavor and everything stay inside my barbecue. If you're thinking about picking up this probe, I'm really liking it. If it continues to work reliably like it is now, the app is definitely the highlight, so I really like that part of it. It guides you through everything. This makes cooking really fail-safe, really easy. Even if you're a beginner just totally starting out, I mean, it just tells you what to do, and you just do it, and bingo, the meat turns out exactly the way that you want it. If you do want the recipe to the brisket that you did see in the video here, I will put that link up on the side after that video is made, and I'll leave the recipe details for you in that video as well.